Hello children, today we are going to learn another chapter in geography, that is atmosphere. But before going into the chapter, let us discuss briefly about four realms of the earth. The earth has four realms. They are lithosphere or the sphere of land, hydrosphere, the sphere of water, atmosphere, the sphere of air or gases, then biosphere. Biosphere, it is the interaction between land, water and air where all form of life exist. Now we'll learn about atmosphere. The atmosphere is the layers of gases that surrounds the earth. It is held by the gravitational force of the earth. It is about 480 km thick and contains all the gases in it. Now let us discuss about the composition of atmosphere. Do you know children? The atmosphere is composed of different gases in different amounts. The two main gases which are found in the atmosphere are oxygen and nitrogen. The other gases are carbon dioxide, argon, neon, helium, methane and hydrogen. Our atmosphere is also containing a large amount of water vapor. You know children, in our atmosphere, nitrogen is about 78%, oxygen is about 21%, argon 0.93%, carbon dioxide 0.03% and other gases are together about 0.04%. Apart from this, our atmosphere also contains solid particles like dust particles, pollen grains, smoke, etc. Now we will discuss about the layers of atmosphere. Our planet Earth has a unique atmosphere. On the basis of temperature and density of air, it is divided into 5 layers. The lowest layer of the atmosphere is troposphere and it is the closest layer to the surface of the earth. Thereafter, the next layer above the troposphere is stratosphere, then mesosphere. The fourth layer is thermosphere and finally the uppermost layer known to us it is exosphere. So in this manner there are 5 layers of atmosphere. Children, now we'll go into detail of the layers of the atmosphere. So let us start with troposphere. It is the layer nearest to the surface of the earth and it is the densest layer of the atmosphere. That means maximum concentration of gases are found in this layer. It extends to a height of 8 km near the poles and 18 km near the equator. Temperature decreases with increase in height in this layer. Troposphere is also known as zone of weather because all kinds of weather phenomena like blowing of wind, storms, lightning, thunder, rainfall, snowfall, everything takes place in this layer. A boundary which separates troposphere from its next layer, that is called tropopause. Stratosphere is the second layer of the atmosphere right above the troposphere. It extends to a height of about 50 km. It contains ozone in large quantity. So, a large part of stratosphere is known as ozonosphere. Ozone absorbs harmful UV rays from the sun. Due to this, temperature increases as we go higher. The lower layer of stratosphere is free from weather phenomena, so jet planes fly safely in this layer. A boundary that separates stratosphere from the next layer is called stratopause. The third layer or the middle layer of the atmosphere is known as mesosphere. It extends up to 80 km. In this layer, temperature decreases with increase in height as this layer has a lot of radiative cooling. The temperature decreases up to minus 90 degrees Celsius in this layer. And one important feature of this layer is that the meteors burn and disappear in this layer. The boundary between mesosphere and the next layer is known as mesopause. Children, the fourth layer of the atmosphere is thermosphere. This layer lies above mesosphere and extends up to 450 km above the surface of the earth. Do you know, as this layer is closer to the sun, the temperature increases with increase in height because the X-rays, radiation and UV rays are absorbed in this layer very fast. The lower part of thermosphere in between 80 to 100 km is known as ionosphere because electrically charged particles, ions, are found in this layer. Due to presence of ions in ionosphere, the radio waves are reflected and sent back to the earth's surface, and this helps in long distance communication possible. The final layer or fifth layer is known as exosphere. It is the outermost layer of the atmosphere. There is no clear boundary of this layer. It contains light gases like hydrogen and helium. Due to lack of gravity and low density of gases, the gases escape easily into the space. This layer is perfect for placing satellites, means artificial satellites. It is colder at night and very hot during daytime, but in general the temperature of daytime increases up to 1700 degrees Celsius in this layer. So this is all about 5 layers of atmosphere. Children, now we will
Shall continue this chapter with the elements of weather. The elements of weather are temperature, pressure, humidity, wind, clouds, and rainfall. See, these are the elements, they influenced on the weather, and so we call it as these are as the elements of weather. Weather of a place, it is characterized by these elements. Once the temperature of a place it is higher, and in other time it is lower, like that. Sometimes the wind it blows very speed and it is calm in other time, and sometimes the clouds they cover the sky, and in other time the clouds are not there, and that blue sky it clearly appears to us. See, because of these elements, the weather it is characterized, and so we call these as the elements of weather. Okay, let us discuss these elements of weather one by one. Today, in this class, I am going to explain you about the very first elements of weather, that is temperature. Temperature, it means Ushnate in Kannada. You know, the sun is the main source of energy. We get light and heat from the sun. Through the process, we call it as insolation. Dear students, you must know this very importantly. The sun is the main source of energy. Which is the main source of energy? Yes, that is the sun. Thus, insolation is a process by which we receive light and heat from the sun. Okay, we can also name it as, we can also define it as the incoming solar radiation. Nodi, the incoming solar radiation that is from the sun to the earth, it is called as insolation. Got it? Okay. Atmospheric temperature can be measured by using the device thermometer. Dear students, have you seen thermometer? If no, you look at on the screen, here is the picture of thermometer. See, actually this is the device, we use it to measure the atmospheric temperature. These two thermometers are used to measure the temperature in the atmosphere. Got it? Okay. Now tell me, do you find or do you experience same kind of temperature That's across the world? No, dear students, there is no uniformity in the temperature throughout the world because in European countries the temperature is less. In Antarctica side that temperature is very low. Whereas in African continent side the temperature it is so hot. Look here. See how we are experiencing difference in the temperature with regard to the countries and continents. As like that in India also we will experience very variety in temperature. Actually in Jammu and Kashmir it is cool, whereas in Rajasthan, see, it is hot. These two places, these two states are our Indian states. See, only that's inside our country. In India only we are experiencing different variety. That's in the temperature. It means across the world. How about it? See, there is lot of difference in the temperature distribution. So, what is the reason for the variety or varied in the temperature? See, here is the answer for is the temperature of a region is influenced by latitude, altitude, nearness to the sea or ocean, clouds, rainfall, etc. Latitudes are the imaginary lines that drawn on the globe. See, these are helpful to identify the places and location. And altitude means height. See, as the height increases, the temperature decreases. So, here altitude is a reason for that difference in the temperature and nearness to the sea or ocean. Altitudes, clouds, rainfall, nearness to the ocean or sea. There is no that same distribution, I mean equal in the distribution of temperature throughout the world. Hence we have divided that entire world, that's our entire earth, into three temperature zones. Let's go to the temperature zones in the world. We have three temperature zones.
They are hot or tropical or torrid zone. The second one is temperate zone. Third one is freeze or polar zone.
Now I will explain you about these three temperature zones. Let's go to first. The very first zone is torrid zone. Torrid zone is also known as hot zone. To know about hot zone, you must know about the important latitudes on the globe. You know, the central line, it is called as the equator. See, that is the longest, I mean the biggest latitude on the globe. See, that is the central line which cuts the globe or which divides the globe into two equal parts. That central middle line is called as the equator. It is uh, mentioned as 0 degree on the globe. Then above that equator, up to 23 half degree in the north and 23 half degree in the south. See, this is all, that region is called as hot zone. See, look here in that picture that is on the globe, that yellow shaded color, what it is indicating? Yes, that is hot zone. See, on this hot zone, the sun rays, they fall vertically, and so this reason it receives more temperature from the sun. Look here in the picture, Asian parts and African parts, especially African parts, they are coming under this zone. See, this is called as hot zone. Do you know the reason why hot zone it is hot? Because of vertical sun rays, they fall on it. Got it? Okay, next we shall move to the next zone, that is temperate zone. It is the second temperature zone. It is temperate zone, Samashitoshna Valaya. Look at, the sun rays become slightly slanting over this region, above the Tropic of Cancer in the north and below the Tropic of Capricorn in the south. Look here in this picture. On the globe, you can see some horizontal line there. See horizontal lines in that central red colored line is there, no? That is equator. Above that equator, a yellow line is there. That is Tropic of Cancer. I mean Karkataka Sankranti Rutta. And below that equator, one more horizontal yellow line is there. That is Makara Sankranti Rutta. I mean Tropic of Capricorn. See, above that Tropic of Cancer in the north, and below that Tropic of Capricorn in the south. How the sun rays are falling, they are slightly slanting. In previous, in the hot zone, the sun rays they fall vertically. But okay, na? See, this is about the temperate zone, and we can give example North American continent and Australia continent. That's in the southern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, North America continent that lies in the temperate zone, as like that in the southern hemisphere, Australian continent that is in this temperate zone. This is all about the temperate zone. Next we shall move to the another zone, lost zone, that is, yes, freezed zone. Freezed zone, it is also called as polar zone, Shita Valaya or Dhruviya Valaya. See, you know that Earth it has two poles. One is North Pole, that is 90 degree in the north, and southern South Pole, that is in the 90 degree, that's in the southern hemisphere. See, in this region, ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ the sun rays become more slanting and fall above the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere and below the Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere, and it remains cold forever. This is the lost zone, that is polar zone. This is all about the three temperature zone: hot zone, temperate zone, and at last polar zone. Hot zone straight rays, and temperate zone slightly slanting, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಓರೆಯಾಗಿ, and in the polar zone more slanting, ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿ ಓರೆ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. See, this is all the reasons for the temperature that found in varied in these three zones. Got it? Okay, next we shall move to further. Normal lapse rate. See, what is a lapse rate here with regard to the temperature? Normal lapse rate is nothing but the decrease in the temperature as the height it increases. You know well, already I told you, as we move upward, temperature that becomes decrease. See, this is the rate of decrease of temperature as the height increases. It is known as normal lapse rate. Here, how much of temperature that decreases, you know? See, that's for every 165 meters above 1 degree Celsius temperature that decreases. You get temperature that decreases as the height increases. It is called as normal lapse rate. In kilometer, see, for above, that is 1 kilometers above the earth's surface, this is the normal lapse rate. And now come to the inversion of temperature. Listen, just I told you, as the height increases, the temperature decreases, like that. But here it is reverse. That's why I call it as inversion of temperature. Inversion of temperature, it is common in the valleys during long winter nights. As the height increases, the temperature it also increases. This is called as inversion of temperature. Okay, I am going to explain you about another element of weather. For going to know about that element, let me to explain an experiment. Here is the experiment. Listen. I have taken water in a glass, and covered that mouth of the glass by using a cardboard sheet. Then I hold that glass invertedly. Though I hold it invertedly, the water which is inside the glass, it doesn't come outside because of a pressure which is in our surrounding. That pressure we call it as atmospheric pressure. Today I am going to explain you about this atmospheric pressure, which is also another element of weather. Now you have understood why that water it doesn't come outside because of atmospheric pressure. You know this? Okay. Then the pressure of the atmosphere, I mean here atmospheric pressure is more than the weight of the water which is inside the glass. That's why that atmospheric pressure it never allows the water to come outside. This is an experiment just to show you how the atmospheric pressure it works in our surrounding. Now here is one more picture. Let me to explain about this. Have a look at this picture. Here in this picture you can see the two balloons are tied to a balance. One balloon is filled with the air, whereas the another it's not filled with the air. The balloon which has air in it, it comes down, whereas the another balloon which doesn't have air in it, it goes up. Do you know why these two balloons they are not balanced each other? Because the balloon which has air in it, it gets weight, and so it comes down, whereas the another one it doesn't have air in it, and so it goes up because of less weight compared to this balloon which has air in it. By this experiment we can learn that, we can understand that air it has weight. Got it? Air it has weight. In the last experiment you just realized that air it has weight. Okay. Now let us go to know more and more about atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure. Air has weight and so it exerts pressure. Dear students, the pressure that created by the air is called atmospheric pressure. By the definition, what is atmospheric pressure? The pressure that created by the air. And atmospheric pressure, it is measured in terms of millibar. How we measure the temperature in terms of Celsius and Fahrenheit, like that the unit of measuring atmospheric pressure is millibar, and the device it is used to measure atmospheric pressure is barometer. See, barometer is the device, millibar is the unit of measurement of the atmospheric pressure. This is the device, we call it as barometer. See, it is the device used to measure atmospheric pressure. And one more device is there, it is the advanced barometer. See, actually both these two are the barometers. One is traditional, whereas another one is advanced one. The pressure of air that decreases as we go upside. For every 300 meter above the earth's surface, there will be 34 MB decrement. Look here, see. And if the temperature that increases, then the pressure will be decreased. These two, they have inverse relationship. If temperature rises, then pressure is decreases. Okay, these two have inverse relation to one another. The average pressure of air at the sea level is 1013.25 MB. See, why we are going to consider that sea level? Sea level ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ, because you know already As the height increases, there will be decrement in the atmospheric pressure. That's why to know the average, we must take into consideration the sea level where there will not be the obstacles. Yeah, ready. The atmospheric pressure, it is affected by these factors like temperature, altitude, rotation of the earth, water vapor. Rotation of the earth, because of the rotation of the earth, we have gravitational force. We have come to the main part of this lesson, that is to know about the atmospheric pressure belts. The earth, it has divided into 7 major pressure belts. At the equator, we have equatorial low pressure belt. And above this equator, in the northern hemisphere, we have 3 pressure belts. Like that, in the southern hemisphere, we have other 3 more pressure belts. As like this, we have in totally 3 plus 3 plus 1 equatorial low pressure belt. Including that, we have 7 major pressure belts. Now I am going to read the 7 major pressure belts. You observe: equatorial low pressure belt. Second, north subtropical high pressure belt. Third, south subtropical high pressure belt. Fourth, north subpolar low pressure belt. Fifth, south subpolar low pressure belt. Sixth, north polar high pressure belt. And at last, seventh, south polar high pressure belt. Like this, we have 7 major pressure belts in the world. Actually, in the northern and southern hemisphere, we find alternatively low pressure belt, high pressure belt, low pressure belt, high pressure belt, like that. To understand this, have a look at this picture. At the center, we have equatorial low pressure belt. You know that that's in blue color. Above that, there is subtropical high pressure belt in the northern hemisphere, and subpolar low pressure belt, and closed high pressure belt. As like this, in the northern hemisphere, here other 3 more pressure belts, they are found in the southern hemisphere too. Totally, we have 7 major pressure belts. In this picture, the arrow marks, they are showing you about the direction of the wind. Okay, now I will show you a video. You please watch it carefully to understand about how these pressure belts, they create in the atmosphere.
In this video, we shall learn about the various pressure belts and wind patterns that have developed on planet Earth. While understanding the basic concepts behind the development of pressure belts, we will not take into consideration the tilt of the axis and the influence of land-water distribution. Equator divides the globe into southern hemisphere and northern hemisphere, and equatorial belt extend up to 5 degree north and 5 degree south. Equatorial region receives nearly vertical rays of the sun, and this heats up the air near the equator. When temperature increases, pressure decreases. So, along the equator we have low pressure, and we call this region as equatorial low pressure belt. The warm air starts rising up in the troposphere, and as the warm air is rising, the temperature drops. After rising up to a certain point, it stops rising upwards because it becomes cooler and it is obstructed by tropopause. So the air spreads out. The air starts moving in the southern and northern direction. As the air is moving, it becomes denser, and after a certain point, it sinks down to the surface. So at around 30 degrees north and south, we have sinking air. This sinking air is cool air, so it forms high pressure systems. These regions are called as subtropical high pressure belts because these regions lie outside the tropical region and at the same time adjoining the tropical region, the sinking air now moves towards north and south. So, along the equator, the warm air rises, spreads out, and cools and sinks down. In this way, it develops convectional currents. At the poles, the sun rays are very much inclined, so we have cold air that sinks. These regions are known as polar highs. In the northern hemisphere, the air moves towards the south, and in the southern hemisphere, the air moves towards north. At this point, we have air coming from north and south. So, at this point, the air converges and rises up. These regions are known as subpolar lows. So, at 60-degree latitudes, we have low pressure system because we have rising air. Along the equator, the air is rising because of convection, and at subpolar lows, we have rising air because of convergence. This rising air also spreads out, cools, and sinks. Same things happen in the southern hemisphere. On the surface of the earth, along the equator, the winds move from high pressure regions to low pressure regions. That is from subtropical highs to the equatorial low in the northern and southern hemisphere. These winds bend to the right in the northern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere, the winds bend to the left. And this is described as Coriolis effect. The winds bend to the right and left in the northern and southern hemisphere respectively, because the earth is spherical in shape and the earth rotates from west to east. In the same way, in between 30 and 60 degree north and south, the wind bends towards right and left in the northern and southern hemispheres respectively. Even at the polar region, the same phenomena can be seen.
I hope you have understood this phenomenon, and today we are going to know about wind. It is also an important element of weather. Okay, let's begin the class. First of all, we have to know the meaning of the word wind. Wind is differ with the term air because air is the mixture of gases and wind is the horizontal movement of that air is called as wind. And why wind it blows? That is because of the rotation of the earth. You know already earth it has two movements. One is rotation and another one is revolution. Because of this rotation, that wind it blows from one direction to another direction. You have to know this. And here I am going to introduce you two devices. One is wind vane and another one is anemometer. Why we use wind vane? See, wind vane we use it to measure the direction of the wind blowing. Got it? Look at these two pictures. Here the first one is wind vane and the second one is anemometer. See, I already explained you about these two devices. Wind vane we use it to know the direction. Look at that in the picture, arrow mark is there, no? See, that arrow it shows the direction, from which direction to which direction it is blowing, like that. And in the second anemometer, see, look at their bowls. Four bowls are there, and 1 meter is that is fixed to this anemometer. In that meter the speed of the wind it is recorded. See, that's the speed is measured by using the device anemometer, and the direction of the wind is measured by using the device wind vane. And here is a video. You look at this video, then you will get the clarification about these two devices. look at in this video. That arrow marks, they show about the direction of the wind blowing, and those bowls which are fixed there, they are rotating, and that rotation tells about the speed of the wind. Okay, this is about the devices. Till so far I told you about the meaning of the word wind and about two devices. One is wind vane and another one is anemometer. Let's move to know about the wind types. See, we have four important types in the wind. One is planetary winds, secondly seasonal winds, thirdly local winds, and at last but not the least, fourth one is cyclones and anticyclones. About these winds we have to study in this period. Let us begin with the planetary winds. Planetary winds, they are also called as permanent winds, prevailing winds, and regular winds, because these winds they blow more or less in the same direction throughout the year. Andre these winds cause climate change, desert formation, guide navigational routes nodi. And we have other three more types in these planetary winds. So actually in winds we have four major types. In that, in the planetary winds itself we are having other three types. They are called as trade winds, anti-trade winds or westerlies, and polar winds, like that. Now we shall go to know about the first planetary wind, that is trade winds. Trade winds, they are the types in the planetary winds, you know well. These winds they blow from subtropical high pressure belt to equatorial low pressure belt or low pressure region. You know, in the last class I already told you that at the equator we have low pressure because of the direct sun rays. When the temperature it rises, then the pressure it decreases. At the equatorial belt we have low pressure, and above that equator in the north subtropical high pressure belt is there. Like that in the southern hemisphere below the equator we have another subtropical high pressure belt. And so from these two belts in the north and the south, they are blowing towards the equator. I mean the wind it blows from subtropical high pressure belt to this equatorial low pressure belt. That can be seen in this picture. Look at that in the picture. That blue sky rectangle is there, no? See in that what I am showing you, that's all about the trade winds and the movement of the trade winds. In the northern hemisphere, these trade winds they are blowing from northeast direction to southwest direction, and in the southern hemisphere they are moving, I mean they are blowing in the opposite to this northern hemisphere winds. Like this southern hemisphere they blow from southeast to northwest direction. This is about the trade winds. And it wind, the wind it always moves from high pressure area to the low pressure area. You must keep that in the mind. Now we shall learn about the anti-trade winds or westerlies. See, anti-trade winds or the westerlies, they are the second type in the planetary winds. These winds they blow from subtropical high pressure belt to subpolar low pressure belts. Westerlies are blown very strong over the ocean in the south. These are called in different names as follow. Okay, dear children. Here in the last slide, I just explained you about the trade winds. See, what is the difference between trade winds and anti-trade winds here? See, trade winds and anti-trade winds, these are originated. That means these two types of winds, they blown from the subtropical high pressure belt. But if that wind it blows towards the equatorial low pressure belt, then it is called as trade wind. And If that wind it blows from subtropical high pressure belt towards the polar low pressure belt, then it's called as the anti-trade winds. As I explained in the last class, we have 7 major pressure belts in the world. At the center, we have equatorial low pressure belt. Above that equatorial low pressure belt, we have 3 more pressure belts in the north. As like that, in the north, in the south, we have other 3 more pressure belts. Thus, 3 in the north, 3 in the south, and including the central low pressure belt, equatorial low pressure belt, we have 7 major pressure belts. And also I told you wind it moves from high pressure belts to low pressure belts. Thus, that's in the subtropical, south subtropical and north subtropical high pressure belt. On either side, we have low pressure belts. You can see that's in the picture. Subtropical high pressure belt. On either side, there is low pressure belt. One is called as the equatorial low pressure belt, and another one is called as the subpolar low pressure belt. That's why the wind it blows from the equatorial side, from the subtropical high pressure belt towards the equatorial low pressure belt. Thus, it is called as the trade wind. But here, our point of discussion is anti-trade wind. That subtropical high pressure belt wind, it is blowing toward the subpolar low pressure belt. That's we call it as anti-trade winds. And over the oceans, you know, the southern hemisphere, it is mainly covered by water, and so we call it as water hemisphere. Over this water, I mean over the ocean, anti-trade winds they blow very strong, and so we call in different names at different latitudes. At 40-degree latitude, we call them as roaring 40s, and at 50-degree southern latitude, we call them as furious 50s, and at last in the southern at the 60-degree latitude, we call them as shrieking 60s, like that. This is all about the anti-trade winds. Andre, this is about anti-trade winds. Now it is about the polar winds. These are the third types in the planetary winds. These are called as easterlies. Nodi, anti-trade winds they are called as westerlies, but polar winds are called as easterlies. They blow from polar high pressure belts to subpolar low pressure belts. These are called as cold dry winds blowing from the polar ice caps. Dear students, one low pressure area, that is low pressure belt is there, means on either side it is having a high pressure belts, or if an high pressure belt is there at the center, on either side it has low pressure belts, like that. Here now that wind it is blowing from the high polar nodi polar high pressure belts to subpolar low pressure belts. Already to this subpolar low pressure belt the wind it blows. That's from which pressure belt? Yes, that's subtropical high pressure belt. That's in the name itself. Polar winds means that's from the pole side, that is polar high pressure belt side towards the subpolar low pressure belt. The wind it is blowing. After that planetary wind, it is about seasonal wind. See, the name itself it is giving you the meaning of this wind. Seasonal wind means it blows as per the season. I mean, as per the period, it goes to change its direction and blows. That's why it is called as seasonal wind. Seasonal winds are also known as periodical winds because they change their directions periodically or seasonally. Monsoon winds of India, these are the best examples for the seasonal winds because these winds they will change their direction. How they will change? Look here. So the southwest monsoon wind That's the monsoon wind here that blows in India. This southwest monsoon wind, it usually blows from June to September. That's from the direction southwest direction to northeast direction. I mean, ಜೂನ್ ಇಂದ ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಂಬರ್ ವರೆಗೂ ಈ ಒಂದು ಮಾರುತ ನೈಋತ್ಯ ದಿಕ್ಕಿನಿಂದ ಈಶಾನ್ಯ ದಿಕ್ಕಿನ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಬೀಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸೌತ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನೈಋತ್ಯ, ನಾರ್ತ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಈಶಾನ್ಯ ದಿಕ್ಕು. ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ this wind it blows from this direction to that direction, then it creates a high pressure in the northeast direction. And so when it becomes a high pressure area, then that wind it blows reverse, I mean from northeast to the southwest. And so these are called as the seasonal winds or periodical winds. And that wind it blows from northeast to southwest from late September, the seasonal wind. Look at this picture. Here I am going to show you the direction of the monsoon winds. Monsoon winds, they are the seasonal winds in India. These blow from southwest direction to northeast direction. Look at here in this map, the blue lined arrow marks lines, what are there? They are representing that monsoon wind which is blowing from southwest to northeast. These are blown from northeast to southwest direction. I mean these are going to blown reverse to the southwest monsoon winds. Southwest monsoon. The third type in the wind is local wind. Local winds, these are the results of the periodic winds actually. Just I explained you about the seasonal winds or the periodical winds. When these winds they blow from one direction to another direction, then in that another direction it creates, that means that seasonal wind it creates high pressure area. Because of that, when it creates high pressure area, then that wind it blows reversely. That's from the high pressure to the low pressure area. And there will be the variations of local temperature and pressure, humidity, which in turn these are attributed into the formation of air currents and crossing the mountains, valleys and other relief barriers of earth. These are called as the local winds. Okay, listen. Local winds are found in many types. Example, land breeze, sea breeze, mountain breeze. Mountain breeze are called as katabatic winds. Valley breeze, these are called as anabatic winds. Local winds, these are called in different names in different countries. Example, the local wind of India is called as Lu. Like that, Chinook or snow eater in America. Fawn, that's in Alps region, mean in South American region. Sirocco, that's in Sahara region in Africa. Brickfielder in Australia. Blizzard in Antarctica. And Mistral, that's in France in Europe continent. Like this we have given many more names for these local winds. Look at the screen. Here are the local winds that found in India. Lu, Nor'wester, Kala Baisakhi, Mango Shower, Cherry Blossom, Western Disturbance. See, these are all the local winds. But the people of India, they are given these names in different states. In these, I am going to explain you about 3 out of these local winds. Kala Baisakhi, Mango Shower and Cherry Blossom. Kala Baisakhi is the local wind that is called by the people of West Bengal. ನೋಡಿ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲದ ಜನತೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಪಶ್ಚಿಮ ಬಂಗಾಳದ ಜನತೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಲೋಕಲ್ ವಿಂಡನ್ನು ಕಾಲ ಬೈಸಾಖಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಶೋರ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಶೋರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಚೆರ್ರಿ ಬ್ಲಾಸಮ್. ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ನೋಟಿಸ್ಡ್ ರೈನ್ ಫಾಲ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಅಕ್ಕರ್ ಇನ್ ದ summer? Okay, now the fourth type of the wind is cyclones and anticyclones. ನೋಡಿ, cyclones and anticyclones, why these type of winds are formed? These cyclones and anticyclones are formed due to the great variation in the atmospheric pressure. So you know, air it has weight and it exerts pressure. That's we call it as atmospheric pressure. If that atmospheric pressure it is subjected to great variation, then cyclones and anticyclones are formed. Know this properly. These cyclonic winds are temporary, but sometimes they are very dangerous and destructive. I mean, these cyclones and anticyclones, they will not find every time, and so these are considered as temporary winds. But even though they occur for a short period, they cause enormous loss in case of life and death. That's why we consider them as dangerous and destructive. Now, shall we move to know about cyclone? Okay. What is a cyclone? Cyclone is nothing but is a small low pressure area. It is located at the center and is surrounded by high pressure area. Look at in the diagram, low pressure area. L is there now, that indicates low pressure area. Around this low pressure area, high pressure area is surrounded. From this high pressure area, the wind it blows towards the low pressure area. How it blows? That's in spiral, means in that the movement of the cyclonic wind, it is not same in north and the southern hemisphere. That wind it blows spirally, you know well, but how, in what direction that wind it blows spirally toward the center, that is mean towards the low pressure area. That's in northern hemisphere it is anti-clockwise, and in the south hemisphere, that is in the southern hemisphere, it is clockwise movement. Do you know about what is clockwise movement and anti-clockwise movement? See, here in this picture, look at this. Here in this picture, that hands in the clock, if they rotate from 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this movement is called as clockwise movement, because usually the clock hands they rotate in this direction. That's why it is called as clockwise movement. And if the hands they rotate from 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, like this in the reverse process, then it is called as the anti-clockwise movement. Now, have an idea about clockwise and anti-clockwise movement? Okay. Now, come again to know about the cyclones. Cyclones, they are of two types. One is tropical cyclone and another one is the temperate cyclone. Tropical cyclones, they found in the tropical region. That means above the equator from up to Tropic of Cancer, and below the equator up to Tropic of Capricorn. This is the reason we call it as tropical region. In this, if the cyclone that occurs, then it is called as the tropical cyclone. These are usually very powerful and destructive. And second one is temperate cyclones. See, these are in the temperate region. Most probably these are not so dangerous and destructive that compared to the tropical cyclone. This is about the types in the cyclone. Now it is about anticyclones. Anticyclones, they are opposite to the cyclones, because here the high pressure area it is located at the center and is surrounded by low pressure area, and the wind it blows spirally from the center towards outside. That is why it is anticyclone, because it is against to the cyclone, it is reverse to the cyclone. That's why we call it as anticyclone. Look at in this picture. See here, H that is given at the center. H means here it represents high pressure area. Where is that high pressure area? It is located at the center, and around this high pressure area, that low pressure area is existed, and so the wind, look at that arrow marks, from where to where they are going, that's from the center to outside. How they are going? That's in the spherical shape, that is in the spherical, spirally, ವೃತ್ತಾಕಾರವಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. That is why it is called as anticyclone. Now, have you get the idea about cyclone and anticyclone? See, if the low pressure area is at the center, that is cyclone, and if there is high pressure area is at the center, then it is called as anticyclone. Look at this picture once again. Here I am going to explain you about the movement of cyclonic winds in the northern and southern hemisphere with respect to cyclone and anticyclone. See, here in the cyclone, that red colored diagram, it represents cyclone, and blue colored diagram, it represents that anticyclone. So look at that movement of the winds in the cyclone. See, L is there, no? That is low pressure area. If it is at the center, then it's called as the cyclone. See how that wind it is moving in spirally. That's from outside to the center. The wind it is moving, but in the northern hemisphere, the movement of the wind it is anti-clockwise, whereas in the southern hemisphere it is clockwise. And in case of anticyclone, high pressure area it is at the center and surrounded by low pressure area, and so the wind it blows from center to the outside. How? That's in the northern hemisphere it is clockwise, but in the southern hemisphere it is anti-clockwise direction. This is about the movement of cyclonic winds in northern and southern hemisphere. Cyclone, it is called in different countries in different names. Actually, in India, we called cyclone as cyclone itself, but in Japan and China, they called it as typhoon. And in America, that's in USA and Mexico, they called as hurricane. And in Australia, as Willy Willis. And in Russia, they called cyclone as whirlpool. See, these are the other names of cyclone in foreign countries. This is all about the wind and its types. Now,
Here we shall stop the session and we'll continue in the next class about humidity and rest of the part of this lesson. Thank you.